I see you. All right, I'm ready with it.
Okay, I just started it. What's up, everybody? This is gonna be a good episode. I'm telling y'all right now.
It
We
was.
cooking right now. But if you are new to the channel, this is Titanic right up here.
Yo.
My name's Corey. This is
Yep.
the Overlook Fleet. You can find us many places, but pretty much right here. And every day we talk about One Piece. We got
Facts.
your character bios. We got your I don't know, saga reviews. We have your
Chapter
reviews, your episode reviews.
Episode review.
We got it all.
Theory Thursday.
Theory Thursdays, Devil
We
Fruit
everywhere.
Fridays, Mugiwara Mondays, but today is Tuesday. And today is the day we talk about the 10 Titanic captains. We already talked about a couple. Check the playlist. I'll probably put a link right up there. But today we are talking about Death God, Doc Q.
Yep.
Not a lot's known about him, but we got some theories. We've been cooking off screen, so we're gonna stir the pot a little bit. We're gonna see, hey, if you guys have any theories about Doc Q, maybe his rivalry against Chopper, that's not a rivalry yet, maybe how he got his place on the Blackbeard Pirates, let us know below. If you guys want us to talk about you guys pick our next Titanic captain for next week as well. Write that down in the comments, but let's get started. We're going to talk about Doc Q and his Shiku Shiku no Mi. So, that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. Kev, you'll start talking after because I've talked a lot already. Doc Q, known as Death God, is the doctor of the Blackbeard Pirates. Ironically, he has a sick body and needs his horse, Stronger, who is just as sick as he is, to get around. He is currently one of the 10 Titanic captains as the captain of the 9th ship. Due to his actions and role, he is a minor antagonist in the Jaya arc, a supporting antagonist in the Impel Down and Marineford arcs, and a minor antagonist in the Egghead arc. Oh, a minor antagonist in the Egghead arc, and a major antagonist in the final saga. Yeah, and then a little bit about his personality, if you want to hit that one.
Yeah. So just like the rest of the crew, Doc Q believes in fate. You could hear it between his conversations with people like Van Augur, where Van Augur believes he is fated to be the best sniper in the world. Also follows Blackbeard, where he thinks he's going to be the next leader of the D Clan type of thing. Although their views seem to be centered more on the belief of fortune and misfortune, Q seems to know when people are lucky or unlucky and praises those. However, he is not above changing his opinion should the circumstances prove otherwise, as seen when he notes that Luffy to be lucky despite deeming him out of luck when Teach decides to target Straw. Because who doesn't love Luffy? Let's get into a little bit about his powers and ability, because he has a wide variety of powers.
Before we go into his powers,
go ahead.
let's talk a little bit about his concepts. Just like the concept and like his character profile, because I got some things to say about that.
Go for it. Yeah.
Biggest thing is he's sick. He knows he's sick, but he's sick. All right. So he's a sick guy on a horse that needs a horse to carry him around. It's not. I mean, another week, another Elden Ring bio. I talked about one of those death horses before, but no. Radon, one of the bosses, is basically sick, and he has his small horse that basically carries him around, and he's like using the last of his power. That's kind of like Doc Q. There are other things that Doc Q kind of symbolizes that we talked about, like the Four Horsemen or Don Quixote. I think is like a big inspiration. If anybody out there doesn't know the story of Don Quixote, he's basically, it's a Spanish story. He's chasing windmills. He thinks they're dragons. He's sick in the head, and he has a sidekick named Sancho Panza. But basically, he's sick in the head, and he's chasing these fictitious dragons. You know what I mean? I think Doc Q is supposed to be some kind of like resemblance of that, but I don't know.
He could be like an amalgamation.
Let's just talk about, I guess, pre-time skip and post-time skip. He doesn't really change. He's just in his big coat, and he just looks like a sick person.
He doesn't really change appearances. He's the 9th cap. You know, like he's he's not Jesus Burgess or anything like that. So he's not going to be up front and center. But I think he's going to be very.
Now that we're talking about appearances, let's hit them with the first thing that we're talking about, because we're going to be sprinkling in these theories all throughout the video to keep y'all entertained. So, Kev, hit them with your first theory.
My theory is, all right. I know I'm going a little deep, and I'm the local theory specialist. I'm a little tinfoil hat myself. I get it. But what if I told you Doc Q and Dr. Correja? Now, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Correja taught everything Chop. So how heart-wrenching would it be that in the very final hour, Chopper has to go against his teacher's brother in order to defeat the Blackbeard pirates or solve or cure all of the diseases like his dream is. They look very similar. Now, I mean, how many ways can you write a sickly person with white hair? Not very many, but they look so similar to be not related. So I feel like that might be
Dr.
a
Correa always tells everybody that she's like a lively, a young, like whatever she is, 108-year-old or something like that. You're like, what? But it's like, it would be fitting to always say that if it's like you're growing next to a brother who's always sickly, like as a counterpart. And it would explain why she was always into medicine, trying to heal people. He's also into medicine, so maybe he's like a younger brother or something like that. But that's a solid theory.
like I mean a relative of some sort. I don't know because Dr. Correja lived for a very long time, so it just are they some type of weird tribe like pre-time skip? She was 139, like 139. Maybe not brother, maybe son of some sort, grandchild. I think there's some relation there.
It says his age is 26, though. So I guess he's not old. You know what I mean? He's a young guy. He looks old. But it just could go to his sickliness.
But second youngest on the Blackbeard Pirates, only behind Van Ogden.
These things have been remade before. Like, he's redone ages. Probably not like going to add 100 years to it.
No.
But if they are somehow related, I think that's really fitting for like Chopper, because as we're going to go out into his abilities and some of his weapons, like he's the epitome of death. Chopper is the epitome of, like, I guess, rebirth, because that whole cherry blossom thing that he had.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
So we'll get up out of here. That's my dog. He's the epitome of like rebirth. You know what I mean? With like the cherry blossoms and stuff. So I don't know. Be pretty fitting. If not them, then maybe Zorro, because he's also a Grim Reaper, pretty much.
So, what is your favorite weapon? Because I got a few favorite weapons. My favorite weapon is his exploding apples. I mean, it's one of the classics. He tried to give Luffy an exploding apple right when we first met him, and he thought it was funny that he actually chose the non-explosive fruit apple. So, what are you thinking about his powers? His ability.
I like the exploding apples. I don't know if he's supposed to be like a fucking amalgamation of a bunch of like fairy tales and stuff like that. And that's like the Little Red Riding Hood apple basket, or somebody had apples. I don't know.
I was always thinking like Eve, like Adam and Eve, like he ate the apple out of the Garden of Eden.
Oh, it could also be something like that. But I do like the idea of exploding apples. I mean, it's like pumpkin bombs for like Green Goblin or something. It's just like, okay, man, like what this and just like the Green Goblin, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
pumpkins have nothing to do with goblins, and apples have nothing to do with Van Augur. But I wonder if that the apple basket is where they kept the devil fruit that Blackbeard needed in order to get the Quake fruit.
I don't hate that.
Or the tremor fruit.
Yeah.
Y'all know what I mean. I do like those. The scythe is cool. I've always liked scythes, size, whatever. But I definitely got to say the apples are the best.
Yeah.
But his
double-sided scythe is pretty cool. I like that a lot.
He has a lot of techniques outside of making you sick. And oh, actually, this is theory number 2. First one was 5 minutes in. This one's 10 minutes in. Theory number 2. He is the opposite, the antithesis of Ivankov. Where Ivankov is all about hormones, he is also all about hormones. Just like Ivankov could switch somebody's sex and he can like hit you with adrenaline.
He has the feminization.
Yep.
Too.
Like he uses hormones. What if Doc Q just uses pheromones, like through the air, besides directly injecting? Now I don't know biology. I could be getting those words fucked up. But one is through the air and one is through physical contact, is what it seems like. But yeah,
That is a pretty good difference between them, because you're right. Ivankov has to get really close and puncture the skin in order to inject them with it. With him, he turned his with Doc Q, he turned all of the heart pirates female from a distance. Like that's incredible how he could do that. So just imagine if he wanted to give you the Black Plague or something like that. It'd be so simple, and
yeah.
maybe it doesn't last as long.
Not even a wave of his finger, but I mean, that does flesh out his utilities, like his weapons. Like his scythe keeps people at bay. His exploding apples keeps people at bay. Stronger now has like, I don't know, the Pegasus fruit or something like that.
The Uma no
yeah. So his
model Pegasus.
Yeah, so his horse can fly, so all he's about is keeping his distance. All he really has to do is like circle the battlefield and just keep circling the battlefield in the air. And it's like, what's somebody really gonna do? Now this is One Piece. We got plenty of people that can fly now, but I mean, ideally, if you're just like taking out fodder, like, you know, heart pirates, like
yeah,
pirates.
You're not wrong. I also don't immediately put our enemies up against the Straw Hats, just because think about everyday people. Like, if you had just some non-Straw Hat pirates, I mean, Law and the Heart Pirates are good examples. Like, he just, like you said, just patrols the air, sprinkles his illnesses, and then lets Blackbeard do the hand-to-hand combat. And not many people can deal with that head on. Like,
and so as far as Doc Q himself, much like Chopper, we do not see a lot of fighting from him. We've seen him shoot Whitebeard. We've seen him drop his apples and stuff. Actually, finally, I think the Law fight is the first time we've seriously seen him use many abilities.
True.
Even though it wasn't really that much, you know what I mean? We didn't get a lot, but he's just one of those characters that I think it's like you can't give too much, because then you'll be able to show his weaknesses and stuff. You gotta keep him mysterious. But as far as like just Doc Q, personality wise, he's the 9th Titanic captain. I'm not too sure who's under him, but he doesn't hold the highest ranking out of the Blackbeard pirates. Like, why do you think that is?
I think the only one that's under him is Aokiji.
Oh, so he's the I see. Yeah, obviously.
I think that's the only. I think he's last. But I mean, again, he's the doctor of the crew. He's not. He's probably just wherever Blackbeard, and they just call him his own Titanic captain.
He's the Crocus of the group.
Of course. I mean, you don't expect him to actually be from. So I don't think it's that. It's that.
So
he's just.
What do you guys think of some of Doc Q's abilities? Which ones are your favorites? As far as the sick fruit, what kind of sicknesses do you think you would use if you were Doc Q, and how would you use it? You're gonna have to get a little demented. You know what I mean? I guess personally, you said the Black Plague was one. I think that's a big one. This dude could just give people chicken pox on the bottom of their feet. Like, this dude could do some demented shit. It's like, yeah, now your feet itchy. You're distracted.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's only the only limit is your mind because I mean, we've vaccinated so many diseases and plagues the world over in our history. I mean, we still have unknown illnesses that kept Toki and Buggy away from the One Piece. He could easily just change anybody to have that disease, or what killed Rogers, or what was going to kill Rogers. He may have all this knowledge, and we have none of it, right? He's a doctor, so we got to be careful of what. That's
Yeah,
all.
I mean that's very true. And what kind of sickness do we think this is?
What the one that he has?
Yeah, that he has.
That was a good question because if he's sick ever since, it all depends on when he got the fruit. Because it looks like he got the fruit during the time skip because he didn't really show the fruit pre-time skip. So that means he was sick before getting the six. And I figured if you got the sick fruit, it would be like Law getting his fruit where you can fix it.
Yeah, where you could
But
fix your own sickness.
yeah, he still seems ill. So I'd love to hear your insight on.
Yeah, and I think it also like goes to stronger his horse because his horse never really seems all together. It always has like a tongue out, like
Hmm.
exasperated, like not
I
exactly the
mean,
best, but whatever
he
Doc Q
is
has isn't contagious because we've seen people interact with him. We've seen the
true.
Blackbeard himself like touch Doc Q, like push him out the way and stuff like that. So
Now you said Stronger had his tongue out. Dog, I only let's be honest. I only remember that when he was carrying around big fat ass Blackbeard around the battle.
okay, maybe
We'd all be struggling a little bit.
no, you got a point, but I'm almost positive that this motherfucker always looked tired.
I remember that poor horse dog, like during the law fight. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I got a picture right
he
here.
needs some stronger, that's for sure.
Yeah, he
That's
needs a
crazy.
strong fruit. But
Yeah.
it's like I wonder because it's not it doesn't seem contagious. It also doesn't
True.
seem like he can hear himself. Um,
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like he takes pauses in between his speech, so it's got to be like a lung thing or a heart thing or something like that.
Ooh, that's a good pickup. I
Yeah.
like.
So
Sound like
I'm
lung.
wondering if one of his things is, you know how all these Blackbeard pirates are so devoted. I wonder if one of his things is like, yo, the last thing, like I'll say, very much like oh, what is his name, man? The traitor from Wano, the clown, the
Oh,
you know how he
go
kind
ahead. Yeah, go
the
ahead though.
the traitor from Wano. If y'all know the name, write it in the comments. I know y'all know the name. Um, I'm still trying to think about it. But at the very end, when he just turned to the fire cloud and he kind of was just like, F it all. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
burn it all to the ground. I feel like we're gonna see the same kind of thing for Doc Q for Blackbeard. If he really is this sick, like who's to say like the third fruit that Blackbeard wants isn't the sick fruit? And like Doc Q like sacrifices himself. He's like, look, this is what I got to do. I'll sacrifice myself doing this. You can have a fruit now, or do what you got to do, and now you have your third fruit. So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with just
Well,
him being sick.
I think a limit of his, and those of you in the chat who put Conjuro, you're correct. I will go ahead and like your. But as far as his limits go to, he has to understand sick. So a lot of our anime watchers watch My Hero as well. Momo in that can only make things out of her body that she knows the compound structure to and how they work. So same thing could apply here. He has to continue his education to make himself stronger, which is a great thing. I mean, that's a cool limiter for somebody like this. I mean, just imagine find a list of
He would
illnesses
have to
and
know like that
okay,
chemical compound and like
yeah,
like he
some
wouldn't have to know how to fix an
wild shit.
illness to make an illness. But
Hmm.
then that wouldn't really make sense with the hormone thing. But that's its own thing. Also,
Sure,
I like that. Actually. Just
I do.
I
Yeah,
had something I was
I-
gonna say, but what do you guys think? Um, yeah, I lost it. I was like, you know what? Whatever. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about Doc Q? Do you think he could be possibly a sibling of Kureha or Kirilluk, any doctor we know right now? How do you feel about him being like, I don't know, one of the four horsemen for like pestilence or death or anything like that? Famine could be another one. You know what I mean?
Nope.
With this theory that we have going on, with Blackbeard going to use Avalo Pizarro as the island fruit, he's going to be like moving the island around and assimilating with other islands that they crash on. Like, you could use Doc Q to be like, oh, you don't want to assimilate with us? You get no crops. You know what I mean? Like, there you go. Wave of the hand. You get no crops on this new island of mine.
I am so glad you brought this because I was about to bring this up. What if he comes into town, he makes everyone sick, and then he cures them when Blackbeard shows up? I mean, look, shamans and your faith healers have been a thing since we have learned fire. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, chat, when I say if you gave me cancer and Blackbeard come to me, son, puts his hand on my head and Doc Q fixes me real quick, I'm gonna believe that Blackbeard is a god. Like, that's just what it, I mean, that's just what it is.
That's
So,
what it's
I
gonna
mean,
be.
I don't, if Blackbeard is smart, that is how he's flipping people. Or it could be as simple as going to people who are sick and Doc Q fixing. But I think my way is a little bit easier, where you can just create sickness and then cure what you know instead of having to learn all this other shit.
The idea of just controlling people with his power is good at controlling people in like masses. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, if you are following our Titanic Captain playlist, you know the theory is, you know, Blackbeard's trying to be the king of the world. He's going to be attacking Wano soon. He's going to be using Avalo Pizarro with his Isle fruit to crash into other islands and kind of assimilate to make a larger country. Like, we got all kinds of theories, and we will be back with another one for our next character next week. So, if you guys have anything to say about Doc Q, please make sure you write it down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and pass this on to your friends and tell them to write some shit too. Also, let us know who we should do next week. Anybody off the top of your head, Kev?
I mean, is it too early to bring up Blackbeard?
That's the thing. It's like, do you start with like the captain, like in the middle somewhere, or?
I don't know. I mean, we've done Van Auger, we've done Kizaru, Aokiji, I think was last week, or was that the Ice Ice fruit?
I don't think we actually done Aokiji yet.
I don't think we actually did Aokiji either. No. Put it down in the comments. Who you guys would like for us to do next? How far do you think Doc Q's abilities can go? How far? Like, what is his limit? Does he cure all illnesses? Does he achieve Chopper's dream?
And is he the anti-Ivankov? So are we going to need Ivankov around? And is Ivankov going to be the key for Chopper to beat Doc Q?
I like that.
Let us know.
I like that a lot.
And next week we'll be back with either Jesus Burgess, Sandwall Wolf, Vasco Shot, Lafitte, or Kuzan. We'll let you know. All right, later.
See you guys tomorrow.